You're 19, tied to a wooden stake, rough rope cutting into your wrists. The flames lick at your ankles. You can smell your own hair singeing, taste smoke and terror on your tongue. The crowd's roaring, some hurling curses, some sobbing, but most just hungry for the show. Your executioner's torch feels like the sun itself, and all you did was try to save France. The twisted irony? This moment was inevitable from the second you drew your first breath. Rewind to 1412. Domremy, a village so small it doesn't even have a proper name on most maps. You're born into a world that's already marked you for death. You just don't know it yet. Your village reeks of fear and cow dung. A charming combination. You can hear the war drums echoing from miles away. Feel the ground shake when English cavalry thunders past. The church bells don't ring for prayers anymore. They're warning signals. Your life? Wake up, pray, work the fields, repeat. Your diet's stale bread and prayers. Meats for lords who wouldn't spit on you. Your dad, Jacques, is a farmer with a temper. Your mom, Isabelle, is obsessed with saints. They've got big plans to marry you off by 16. Spoiler, you're not into it. You've got bigger fish to fry, like saving an entire kingdom. At 13, everything changes. You're in the garden, dirt under your fingernails, sweat stinging your eyes from the brutal summer heat. Then, bang, the air crackles like lightning, and glowing figures appear. The temperature drops so fast that you can see your breath. St. Michael, Catherine, and Margaret appear out of thin air, their voices ringing in your skull like cathedral bells. Your knees hit the ground so hard you'll have bruises for weeks, but you can't look away from their burning eyes. They tell you to kick the English out of France and crown a king. No pressure, right? Divine voices? Either God's got a wild plan or you ate some seriously bad rye bread. You decide it's the former. These saints keep showing up, nagging you like celestial helicopter parents to save a country that's been at war for decades. France is split. English and Burgundians on one side, your Dauphin Charles on the other, barely hanging on to his crown and his sanity. You try telling people about your voices. Big mistake. Your dad thinks you're nuts. The neighbors whisper, "Witch." A teenage girl saving France? Yeah, that'll go over like a lead balloon. The 100 Years' War is torching villages, and you're hearing actual screams and smelling actual smoke from raids. Your divine calling comes with a soundtrack of human suffering. Your voices aren't just inspiration. They're a burden that makes you the village weirdo. Everyone doubts you, but you're not backing down. You're Joan, and you're about to turn this war-torn world upside down. Buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride to either glory or the stake. Fast forward to 16. You're a peasant girl with voices in your head, trekking to Vauquelin to beg Robert de Baudricourt for an escort to the Dauphin. A nobody asking a lord for help? He laughs you off. Twice. You're back in 1428, spouting prophecies about French defeats like some medieval Nostradamus. Third time's the charm. You predict the loss at the Battle of the Herrings, and boom, it happens. Suddenly, Baudricourt's not laughing. He hands you a horse and some soldiers. Game on. Now 17, you're dressed in men's clothes. Practical for survival, sure, but it's gonna bite you in the ass later. You ride 11 days through enemy territory to Chinon, dodging English patrols like some medieval action hero. One wrong move and you're dead, or worse. You reach Charles VII's court, a den of snobby nobles who smell better than they act. The Dauphin's disguised to trick you. Cute party game, but you walk right up, call him out, and spill secrets only he knows. Mic drop moment. You're a teenager with zero combat training, asking for an army. Bold move, Joan. Priests and scholars grill you for weeks, sniffing for heresy like bloodhounds. Here's the kicker. You're a peasant girl who can't read, but you're outsmarting them all with divine confidence and razor-sharp wit. Your voices, they're real, and you're not backing down. France needs you, and you're ready to prove it. Time to saddle up. War's calling. It's May 1429, and you're 17, strapped into white armor, waving a banner like a medieval rock star. Welcome to the Siege of Orleans. The English have the city choked, but you're dodging arrows, rallying troops, and screaming at generals to move faster. No military training? No problem. You've got divine guidance. Or maybe just beginner's luck and balls of steel. 9 days later, Orleans is free. The French are calling you the Maid of Orleans, and you're eating up the glory like a starving peasant at a feast. Next stop, steamrolling the English at La Campagne. Yargaux, Mung, Pâté. You're racking up wins like a pro. The French soldiers follow you like you're God's personal messenger, hanging on your every word. Your voices told you to liberate the law, and you're delivering with interest. By July, you're standing proud in Reims as Charles VII gets his crown on July 17, 1429. You did it. Mission accomplished, right? Wrong. The war's still raging, and glory comes with a price tag that you haven't seen yet. September brings your push for Paris, charging the gates like a woman possessed. But reality checks in. An arrow slams into your leg. And Charles, that ungrateful bastard you just crowned, calls it quits. You're bleeding, begging to keep fighting. But His Majesty says no. The first whiff of betrayal hits your nostrils. France is buzzing. Your name's on every tongue, from peasants to nobles. You're a living legend, the girl who turned the tide of the 100 Years' War. But here's the thing about legends. They make enemies. The English and their Burgundian allies are pissed, and they're plotting your downfall. Your white armor's shining bright, but the shadows are creeping in. You're on top of the world, but the higher you climb, the harder you fall. May 1430, Compania. One moment you're charging like the fearless maid, banner high and spirits higher. The next, Burgundians yank you off your horse like you're a sack of grain. Captured. They don't see a hero, just a prize with a price tag. They sell you to the English for a fat stack of gold, because loyalty is about as valuable as peasant promises in medieval politics. You're 18, and the people you saved France for just cashed you out like a gambling chip. Now you're locked in a Rouen tower, surrounded by English guards who leer like you're their next meal. You stick to men's clothes. Not for fashion, but to keep their grabby hands off. It's your only armor now, and even that's a crime in their kangaroo court. Charles, the king you crowned, he's too busy sipping wine and playing politics to send a rescue party. You're on your own, abandoned by the guys who owe you everything. Desperation hits hard. You leap from a 70-foot tower hoping for a miracle escape. Spoiler alert, you don't stake the landing. Bruised, battered, and back in chains, you're staring down a future that's looking grimmer by the day. The English want you dead. The Burgundians are counting their coins, and your former king has selective amnesia. You're still hearing her voices urging you to stay strong, but the walls, literal and metaphorical, are closing in. Rock bottom? You're about to find out it has a basement. January 1431. Rouen. You're 19, chained in a courtroom facing 70 charges. Heresy, witchcraft, and the heinous crime of wearing pants. The English and their puppet bishop, Pierre Cauchon, have rigged this trial tighter than a medieval chastity belt. These aren't holy men. They're political assassins in robes, desperate to eliminate a French icon who's made them look like fools. Bishops and scholars throw trick questions to trap you, but you're dodging their verbal arrows like a pro. Outsmarting a room of priests at 19? Not bad for a peasant who can't read, but can spot bullshit from a mile away. They scream you're a witch for your voices. You fire back, my saints are real, and God's on my side. The courtroom's stunned, the Cauchons seething. Cross-dressing's their smoking gun, as they ran out of actual crimes. On May 24th, they drag you to a cemetery, threaten to burn you immediately. Terror grips you. You're still human after all. You sign a paper saying you lied about your voices, hoping to buy time. But the moment you do, your world crumbles. Your saints feel distant, your purpose hollow. The betrayal of your own beliefs cuts deeper than any sword. For days, you wrestle with crushing guilt and spiritual emptiness. Then, clarity strikes. You'd rather die true to yourself than live as a lie. You ditch the dress, put the men's clothes back on, and reclaim your identity. May 30, 1431. You're tied to a stake in Rouen's marketplace. The English love you so much they're throwing you a bonfire. As flames climb, you're shouting for God, clutching a cross, unyielding to the end. The crowd's sobbing, some soldiers too. But it's too late. You're 19 and the fire takes you. You saved France, defied a king, and shook an empire. But this isn't Hollywood. Heroes don't always get happy endings, especially when they're inconvenient truths wrapped in peasant clothes. Your voices fall silent, but your name? It's about to echo through eternity. You're gone, but the world can't let you go. In 1456, Pope Calixtus III calls your trial a sham. Innocent, huh? Thanks for the memo, Church. Only 25 years late to the party. By 1920, you're Saint Joan, patron of France, soldiers, and every dreamer with guts. Most teenagers can't handle doing laundry. You became a saint. You're a feminist icon, spitting in the face of medieval patriarchy. War hero? You flipped the 100 Years' War. Pop culture star? From Christine de Pizan's poems to the passion of Joan of Arc, you're everywhere. Statues, films, French flags waving in your honor. It's 2025, and 6 centuries later, we're sprawled on fluffy couches, scrolling 6-inch smartphones, still talking about you. You saved France at 19, gave Charles his crown, and sparked the nation's fight for independence. But you paid with your life, burned for being authentically, uncompromisingly yourself. Your fire? It's still blazing through every rebel and underdog who hears your name and thinks, if she could do it. Joan, you're eternal, and eternally pissed off at how unfair it all was.